All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back to go ahead and give a quick little recap of Invicta 1 Phoenix Rising, I believe that one was called,
I think
or
it's
Invicta
Invicta Phoenix
ST35,
The Invicta Phoenix
or
Rising 1, I think is technically the name.
Phoenix Rising 1. Totally not a movie title. And then in a second, we'll go ahead and preview UFC on ESPN Plus 9, Cerrone versus Iaquinta in Ottawa. Sorry, I can't remember the region. Canada.
Yeah, I'm
But I'll see it.
no good at that kind of Ontario.
Ontario. There we go.
Cool, man. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on this Invicta tournament that finished while we were talking. Actually, before we even get into it, I forgot to mention on the first part of the episode that while I think they just wrapped, but TJ DeSantis did a beatdown after the bell on Between Rounds Radio with Angela Hill, talking about the Invicta card.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch any of it since we were literally recording when it happened. But I have a feeling it's probably fantastic, and hopefully she'll be on more in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Especially, I mean, anyone paired with TJ DeSantis is good as long as he's involved, but especially with Angie Hill, that's definitely a must listen.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm excited to see their take on this card, which, man, this card was wild. So I don't know if you followed any of this in the lead up, Chris, but the weigh-ins for this were ridiculous. So originally, this was supposed to be an 8-person or an 8-woman strawweight tournament in Invicta. However, both Mizuki Inoue and Janisa Miranda blew weight. And so both of their fights got scrapped, and then they had to remake the tournament seating essentially on the fly the night before. So it kind of threw a weird wrench in the entire tournament, especially since the 2 alternates basically got added to the actual tournament, which made it pretty crazy. So the original fights that we were looking at was Kaylin Curran versus Suna Davidsdottir, Juliana Lima versus Danielle Taylor, Brianna Van Buren versus Manjeet Kolekar, and Sharon Jacobson versus Amber the Bully Brown. Okay. And they were great fights. I guess we'll start off at the beginning. So Kaylin Curran took on Suna Davidsdottir. Kaylin Curran, it was a pretty scrappy back and forth fight, but Kaylin Curran dropped her hard twice in that round. So, I should tell you, the format of this is the first round is 1 5-minute, or the first round of the tournament is 1 5-minute round. The second round of the tournament is 1 5-minute round, and then the third round was the 3 5-minute rounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, the athletic commission will only allow them to fight up to 25 minutes or 5 rounds in a night. So that's why they break it up like that. And yeah, so in the first round, basically it means everybody's coming out to scrap out the gate. Kaylin Curran and Suna Davidsdottir, they looked pretty good early on. Suna was able to get some takedowns, but she got blasted by Kaylin Curran once pretty early on in the round. And then Suna was able to get mount in a scramble. And then Kaylin came back again to rally, I think with about a little over a minute left, and dropped her again. And it was just a scrappy fight. I don't know. There's a lot of split decisions on this card that were pretty questionable. But it was, I definitely think Kaylin won that with the 2 knockdowns. So she advanced in the tournament. Juliana Lima took on Danielle Taylor. Danielle Taylor, I figured, would have been a lot more aggressive considering she's kind of a John Dodson type, just a little like less explosive. However, Danielle Taylor did a lot of like clinching and attempts to wrestle in this fight, which was kind of weird. I did not expect that from her. Probably a big part of that is Juliana Lima instigating a lot of clinches and Danielle Taylor not having the size to stay on the outside enough. But yeah, it was a pretty uneventful fight, to be honest. Neither did a ton or was able to land anything too significant. There's a lot of battling it out with over under in the clinch, and Juliana Lima was able to get the split decision win, which I think went the right way. And then Brianna Van Buren is the first of 2 alternates to make it into the fight. The other alternate was Manjeet Kolekar, who she fought. Manjeet was originally scheduled to face Amber Brown. Or actually, no, you know what? Brianna wasn't an alternate. She was supposed to fight Moranjan originally. So Brianna Van Buren is out of, oh God, what is the name of that city? It starts with a G. It's in California, Gilmore, California, which is, of course, where DC is a wrestling coach. And she's also out of AKA, which I was not aware of her prior to the tournament.
Wait, was it Gilmore or Gilroy?
Gilroy, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
I was too busy. I watched too many episodes of Gilmore Girls. I got all fucked up. But so Brianna Van Buren took on Manjeet Kolekar. Manjeet is from Super Fight League. A lot of her wins in Super Fight League, from what I saw, looked to be a lot of wins over people who weren't real familiar with grappling. And it was just kind of her housing them on the ground. So that made me kind of question how this fight was going to go. And Brianna Van Buren just immediately took it to her. Giant double legs, dumping her on the ground, and was able to catch a submission at 3:20 of the first round, being the only person to get a finish in the first round. She was able to pick her opponent for the second round of the tournament, and so she picked Juliana Lima, which was a ballsy pick. I don't know if the game plan was that. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. And then, so the last round, or the last fight in that round of the tournament, was Sharon Jacobson versus Amber the Bully Brown. Sharon, essentially, this is again another pretty scrappy fight, but Sharon was able to win it with takedowns. Essentially, is how this fight went. Just kind of able to outwork her, win scrambles, and get the decision. And it was still very scrappy. Amber Brown is tough as hell. And she had some moments in the fight, but Sharon Jacobson was able to avoid any of the armbar attempts and just kind of stay on top and eke out the decision win. And then, so Sharon, the only reason I think Brianna may have taken Juliana Lima is because she figures Sharon Jacobson would be tougher to beat in a round versus 3 rounds. Because if Sharon Jacobson, for whatever reason, in a scramble ended up on top, that could be pretty costly. Whereas I feel like she was pretty confident that she was going to be able to out-grapple Juliana Lima for 5 minutes. Which, spoiler alert, she out-grappled the shit out of Juliana Lima for 4 minutes, or for 5 minutes. Big, giant double legs. Lima got stuck in the clinch and just got taken down a lot. Brianna was able to hit solid entries deep on everybody's hips and just pick them up and dump them. She honestly looks like a mini DC out there, which, I mean, both out of AKA, both solid wrestlers, and both do well in tournaments.
Style.
Yeah, definitely. So she got the win over Juliana Lima via unanimous decision, and for the 1 round, 10-9. And then Kylan Curran, I always fuck that up, took on Sharon Jacobson. Kylan Curran got a very close decision win. It was real back and forth. Jacobson ended up on top a bunch. Kylan was able to win some scrambles. They were both pretty competitive on the feet. Kylan was landing a little better, and Jacobson was getting some decent takedowns. But Kylan barely got that decision. It was really close. I'm surprised that wasn't one of the split decisions, to be honest, because some of these other ones I thought weren't nearly as close as this one was. But Kylan Curran gets the win and advances to the main event against Brianna. And then there was a fight between Kay Hansen and Magdalena Sormova, who Kay Hansen evidently elected not to fight in the tournament so that she could just get a straight fight against somebody on the advice of her coaches and stuff, which in the long run might not have paid off, since she lost a split decision to Magdalena. Kay was able to do pretty well in some of the exchanges. However, she did end up on bottom because of some scrambles, and she was getting pummeled a little bit in that fight. It was a very close decision, to be fair. It could have gone either way, but Magdalena got the split decision win and the win over Kay Hansen. And then Brianna Van Buren and Kylan Curran fought for the main event, which you actually did catch this fight. I think this was the one on the card you caught, right?
Yeah, that was a fun fight.
So how fucking impressive is Brianna Van Buren, who, spoiler alert, got the choke in the second round via
I was
RNC?
impressed because Curran was doing a good job, just kind of outside jab and then circling, and she was landing some 1-2, some decent combos, but Brianna just kept going forward, and then she wasn't afraid to level change, kind of even going. How do I explain it? Even when I can't remember if Curran kind of threw any threes or any sort of uppercuts like down the middle, like just towards the center line. But I remember I just thought I kept seeing Brownis not give a shit. She just kept going forward, just committing to the level change and just getting. Once she got a hold of Curran and got her to the ground, she gave her a whole world of hurt and a lot of trouble. I was impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. She is, what is she, 5 foot flat? So the entries on her double legs are, she's real low to the ground, and she was getting real deep in on everybody's hips on every entry. So just huge fucking slams for that division. And her top game was really impressive. She was just giving girls fits, and even if they were able to work back to their feet, as soon as they stepped in to close the distance and land a strike, she would just duck under, hit a giant double leg again, and just get on top and pound them out. Really, really solid top game, really solid takedowns. I was really impressed by Brianna Van Buren. I think she's going to be fucking trouble for a lot of women in that division. I mean,
yeah, I can. And that's at strawweight, right? I can only imagine, especially when you have that grappling ability, that weight class, it's going to give a lot of people problems.
Yeah, there's not a lot of women who can hold a 115 division, hold people down in the 115 division. It's not like Carla Esparza wasn't even great at it. And Carla's one of the better wrestlers.
5 foot?
Yeah, 5 foot flat, it says.
So she's kind of like an Andrade. I don't know how tall Andrade is, but I know she's pretty short.
She's like Andrade, but with more of a Tatiana Suarez style game plan. Evidently, she's a real high level wrestler. Like we said, she's out of Gilroy and went to Gilroy High, which, man, that is one of the more impressive wrestling schools in California. So big wins for her. She started out the tournament at, what was she? I believe she is 8-2 now. Is that right? Or she's 6-2? Yeah, no, she's 8-2. So she started out the tournament at 5-2 and moves all the way up to 8-2. Wait, no, that can't be right because I'm looking at her record. Maybe it hasn't updated yet. But man, holy shit. Actually, she's got some pretty fucking solid competition under her belt now that I'm looking at it. She has wins prior to the tournament. She had a win over Jamie Moyle. Had a decision loss to Amy Montenegro back in Invicta 11. So she has a loss to Stephanie Egan way back in the day in 2013. So, man, she's been out here grinding, and it shows because she looked fucking amazing.
That she did. So, like you mentioned, I think it's going to be exciting going forward for that division. Who knows if we'll see her make an appearance in the UFC? I guess it depends how she kind of wants to see things work out first and foremost. Kind of just take everything one step at a time. Get your title defense going. See how you match up against other contenders, and then take it from there. Potentially,
I mean,
at least.
With a performance like that and winning the belt in the tournament, I find it hard to believe that the UFC isn't going to snag her up after the next fight or two if she keeps performing like that. Just incredible wins, and I think she's going to give a lot of girls fits on the ground. And her stand-up wasn't bad either. Her wrestling is clearly what puts her head above a lot of the competition, but she didn't look terrible on the feet. She wasn't like just getting dominated on the feet either. So
no, she definitely held her own for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So I just want to touch on that briefly because I liked that tournament. But again, good example of how tournaments are always cursed and how you can never rely on anyone to ever. It's very rare that everyone stays in the tournament. And the weight misses in Invicta were a good example of that, along with the draw in Bellator last week. So cool. So why don't we go ahead and move into the UFC on ESPN +9 Iaquinta versus Cowboy card.
Yes, we will. And starting at the bottom, we have a bantamweight bout between, and since this is in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, Chris, I see what you did there. It's a card in Canada, so you had to start from the bottom to get here.
I mean, I wasn't thinking of that, but if you want to go that route, we can. Now that it's like, what are you, Brendan? You're pulling a Brendan Schaub there at this
That's
point.
right.
Jesus Christ!
Spoiler alert, guys. Chris is actually sitting in a wheelchair right now.
Yeah, shame on you guys. I can't move.
That's right. Call him Jimmy.
That's when you see me go like this. Hey, give me another fucking beer.
Yeah, straight up. Oh, I love the grassy joke.
Ray from fucking Trailer Park Boys. Anyways, starting at the bottom of this card, we have Mitch Gagnon, a bantamweight bout, Canadian, of course, the Machine, record of 12 wins, 4 losses, going up against another Canadian, Cole Smith, or the Coltrane. This guy's definitely played Gears of War, with a record of 6 wins, 0 losses. Let's see. Last time we saw Mitch Gagnon, who I know is a UFC vet, he's on a 2-fight skid in the UFC. Oh, shit. His last fight being in December of 2016.
Yep.
Okay. Where he lost the decision to Matthew Lopez. He had a bout canceled. He's supposed to fight Brett Pikey Johns in July of 2017. That was canceled. And then 2 years later, almost 2 years later, he was supposed to fight Brian Kelleher.
Yeah, he's supposed to fight Brian Kelleher on this card.
This card.
Brian Kelleher got injured.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know the issue with Mitch Gagnon, if he was flagged by USADA or if he's had injuries or whatnot.
I think it was injuries because I think for the Brett Johns fight, he was supposed to fight, but he got injured.
Okay. So we'll call injuries is what it's like, is the likelihood of why he was out, his absence. His opponent, the Coltrane, Cole Smith, this is his UFC debut, so big fight for him. Big moment for him to show everyone what he's got in the 135 division. Not that division's already stacked enough already. He's coming from BFL.
It's right, Battlefield Fight League, evidently.
Yeah, Battlefield Fight League. Yeah, or Burrito Fight League, whatever you want to call it.
Dog, I would go to an event called Burrito Fight League.
That would be pretty sweet. So yeah, he's undefeated. Hasn't lost. My usual rule, like I've said again and again, I usually go with the veteran over the new guy. This guy's a champion in that BFL. He's undefeated, so I'm not going to knock him for that. You have to have some sort of skill set to be a champion. Unless you're a can crusher. I doubt this guy is. I don't know if the UFC is trying to set up Mitch Gagnon for some sort of here's a comeback victory potential kind of fight for you. I don't really know where to lean. Gagnon's on a 2-fight skid. He hasn't fought in 2.5 years. Yeah, see, and even before his last fight, he hadn't fought 2 years, so this guy just never fights. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Gagnon. And the only reason why is because the last time I wanted to choose against a guy who hadn't fought in like 4 years, that guy that was a Brazilian guy went out and it fucking absolutely starched the other guy who was always fighting. So I'm going to just go against the grain here and just go with the veteran who never fights. I don't know.
Makes sense to me. Do you have a method on that?
Yeah, I'm going to go decision. I think it'll be pretty competitive. Yeah. It'll be competitive, or it'll be a lot of tentativeness from Gagnon because he's kind of probably – I'm sure he had a decent training camp, but he's probably still trying to get used to – I mean, if you haven't been in the octagon for almost 3 years, there's going to be some sort of hesitation in there. No doubt about it. Unless he just goes out swinging like a fucking wild man.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. Well, in the fact that I think it will go to decision. Man. Yeah, you know what? I got to take Mitch. I'm real uncomfortable with the time off. It makes me super fucking nervous. But I just haven't seen enough of Cole Smith to be comfortable in picking him to win a decision over enough of a veteran as Mitch Gagnon is. I mean, if you're going to decision with dudes like Matt Lopez, that's way higher competition than we've seen Cole Smith face. And there's not a lot of footage out there for Cole Smith from what I've seen. So, yeah, I'm going to go the same way, Gagnon by decision. But I would not be surprised if he gets caught cold early with a sub out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think that would surprise me either. If you're curious about for those curious about the odds, of course, unofficially brought to you by BetDSI, the best place to place your bets for any sporting event. I didn't tell you that, of course. They have Mitch Gagnon.
By the way, we're not all sponsored by BetDSI.
What's up?
I said, for the record, not at all sponsored by BetDSI.
Yeah, no, we're not. I just like playing the script. It's fun.
Yeah.
Gagnon's a minus 123 to a plus 110 of the Coltrane.
That sounds about right to me. It's hard to be super confident on either side of the fence for this one.
I agree. This next fight we have is a heavyweight bout between Arjun Buyar, I believe it was, or Bular, who's fighting out of Richmond, British Columbia, another Canadian fighter. He is a wrestler with a record of 8 wins, 1 losses. He's going up against Dana White Contender Series contestant Juan Adams, also known as the Kraken, who has a record of 5 wins, 0 losses. He's also we are new fans of his because he hates Greg Hardy, like a lot of people should.
Yeah,
So you
for
can't
sure.
be mad at that. Last time we saw Arjun Bular, he won a decision over Marcelo Gome last October at UFC Fight Night 138, if I could read. So he's on a 1 fight, not a win streak, but he won his last fight. Juan Adams, this is his 2nd UFC fight. Before that, we saw him last December. He finished with strikes in the beginning of the first round. Chris De La Roca. I felt like that kind of went how we thought it would. I remember that.
Yeah.
Juan Adams is a very intimidating looking person.
And Chris De La Rocha is super not intimidating looking.
Yeah. He looks like he could be a substitute teacher or PE coach.
Yeah, he does look like a gym teacher for sure.
Like that could still murder people, average people, don't get me wrong.
No, yeah. He looks like a someone's dad in the same way so does Judo Dan Kelly.
Yeah. I always thought Dan Kelly kind of looked like Brett Favre. I think someone tweeted that too.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that look for sure.
So I don't know what to expect much of this because I imagine Arjun Bular is going to try to take this to the ground. He has great wrestling. Don't know much about Juan Adams wrestling because this dude likes to knock people the fuck out.
It's real good. I forget how. I'm pretty sure he was a D1 wrestler.
I'm leaning him, and now that you say that, I have to take him because MMA wrestling usually translates differently than pure Olympic style wrestling. I'm not still too brushed up on wrestling. The wrestling types, archetypes. I like Juan Adams in this fight a lot. He has more momentum on his side than Bular. Can Bular make it competitive? I think so. I don't think Bular's ever been a fight that he hasn't been like completely outclassed. Maybe except for
I mean, he did get fucking omoplotted by Wieczorek, but
Wieczorek, yeah, not Wieczorek. I know I always get fucking.
I always fuck it up either way. Yeah.
I got Adams. I want to say he finishes him, and I will, and I think it's gonna be like at the end of the fight. I think it's one of those. I think he's gonna take a lot of. I think he's gonna give a lot of shots output to the body of Bular, so Bular can't really elevate. He can't level change. He won't be able to kind of bend down without big. Excuse me, and be able to kind of get a single leg take on Adams. I think Adams will finish him with some like knees to the body or something, or at least drop him. And get like some sort of TKO finish. That's how I see it ending. I think it's gonna be in the 3rd round. I think it'd be a fairly competitive fight. I think it'll be a lot of grappling. Or if it's not a lot of grappling from both guys, there'll be a lot of Adams piecing up Bular getting a single, trying to take him down, and then lots of scrambling. I think it has potential to be a good fight. I'm not sure if it will be good all around, but I like Adams either way.
Yeah, I'm leaning Adams as well. I'm gonna go TKO towards the end of the 1st, early 2nd. Okay. I guess I'll, for the record, say end of the 1st. Mostly because I just think he's gonna be able to stuff Arjun Bular's takedowns, and outside of his takedowns, dude kind of just has a big overhand right that he doesn't really place all that well. It's mostly just a setup for an entry on the double. If Arjun can get takedowns, I think this becomes a lot more interesting. However, I don't think he's gonna be able to hold Juan Adams down that much. And I think anytime this is on the feet, Juan Adams is fucking Arjun Bular's world up. It'll be interesting to see how Arjun's progressing because he looked good in the Wieczorek fight up until he got caught. The Marcelo Golm fight is like a lot of these dudes he's fighting are like none of them have any kind of real American wrestling background, and a lot of them are just kind of sluggers. Vitrek is just the way he got caught in that omoplata. Jeez, man, like just both hands on the mat the entire fight, not planning at all, just like with the tops of his feet on the ground, while in guard. I don't know. I have no faith in Arjan Bular. Dude's a fade for me against anybody with decent takedown defense. So yeah, I'm gonna take Juan Adams TKO first.
I like it. And for those curious about the odds, according to BetDSI, who we're totally not sponsored by, Juan Adams is a minus 135 to a plus 120 for Arjan Bular. I'll probably say his name wrong and correctly every time, but that is okay because I'm not expected to say it right. I'm not John Anik, which that's ironically right. I did take and this is the biggest waste of a class ever in community college. I did take a linguistics class because I thought it was part of my credit, and it was one of those life lessons you learn in community college. Oh, wait, dumbass, you just wasted your time. And by the way, phonetics are not fun. For those wondering, please don't ever be a linguistic it's just never fun. If you're going to do that, do a foreign language. Be smart. Anyways, that doesn't fucking matter. What does matter is this next fight we have at lightweight. We have Canadian fighter Kyle the Monster Nelson, who has a record of 12 wins and 2 losses, going up against San Diego's own, or at least he trains here in San Diego at Alliance, Matt Sales. Matt Robo Sales. Robo? Yeah, Robo, I think. Yep. Who has a record of 7 wins and 2 losses. First off with Kyle Nelson. This gentleman here, this is his second appearance in the UFC. First being he fought last December on the 231 pay-per-view, Holly vs. Ortega, where he got ground and pounded out in the beginning of the second round against Diego Ferreira.
That was the one where Ferreira was fucking him up from back mount, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
I think he had some crazy grip where he trapped an arm and he was fucking him up from back mount, if I remember right.
Matt Sales, last time we saw him, it was his UFC debut where he lost a decision unanimously to Shane Moraes. This was interesting. I could see why they gave it to Moraes because I think he won like the first 2 rounds. One of those rounds was close, but I remember I think Sales definitively won the third. So yeah, I mean, I get it. They gave Moraes like 2 out of the 3, but I remember someone made an argument for Sales. I think it was like for the first or second round. So who knows? It's one of those close fights. You know, that's in a 3-round fight. I could see where it's obviously a lot more difficult to finish a fight in 3 rounds than it is in a main event. You know, the whole saying, "Oh, don't let the judges decide." A little more difficult in a 3-round fight than say a 5. But then again, even if you have the cardio to go 5, that's another thing entirely. Ask TJ Dillashaw. Yeah, I mean, I want to lean Matt Sales here. I don't know. I feel like this fight is kind of set up for the Canadian fans and that they have a young Canadian fighter versus a young American fighter. But I like Sales' background in camp more than I like Nelson's, even though to be fair, I'm not too versed or educated on Nelson's camp or background. So I'm going Sales on this one based on what I've seen and what I know, and its potential at least. And I like him in a decision. I can't recall Sales' submission background because if this Nelson guy got ground and pounded out, you said from back mount.
I want to say, but to be fair, Diego Ferreira is fucking nasty on the ground. And I want to say it was like a pretty wild ass beating he was putting on dude. Which, I mean, no shame in that. Diego Ferreira's a beast, so who's been looking super good lately. So yeah, you said decision on that?
Yeah, I'm going with decision.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way, mostly because going to decision with Shane Moraes is super fucking impressive. And Matt Sales despite having multiple fights in Explode Fight Series, which, if you guys don't remember, is the same one where the Alimole McFarland soccer mom fight came from.
Yep.
Shouts out to quality San Diego martial arts shows or MMA shows. But he does also have fights in RFA, WSOF, CFFC, all of which are much more competitive. And he's just looked very good against the first two people he fought in the UFC. And then going to decision with Shamma Moraes is super impressive as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go Matt Sales I'm going to say decision. But if he ends up on top, he could get a ground and pound finish, I think.
I think so, too. And I look forward to this fight. If you're those curious about the odds, I'm looking at the wrong one. Oops, that's a little too later. Matt Sales is a minus 222 to a plus 195 of Kyle Nelson.
That sounds about right.
So take that as you will. Next up, we have a welterweight bout between France's Nordine Taleb going up against Canada's Kyle Propelek.
Sure.
Prepelic, something like that. Nordine Taleb, a UFC veteran, is on a current 2-fight skid in the UFC. His last fight coming in October of 2018, where he lost via ground and pound in the middle end of the second round to Sean Strickland. And before that, he was submitted by Claudio Silva a couple months before that. His opponent, Kyle Prepelic, this is his UFC debut. This Canadian fighter before had fight experience in a promotion called BTC.
Oh, yeah. Went over Cody Pfister.
Cody Pfister, I know that name. Won a BTC 5 Typhoon. So I don't know if I'm just being an asshole and assuming that was on the Southeast Asian seaboard coast because all the typhoons over there, or I'm just
Windsor or Ontario, Canada.
I was way off.
Nailed it.
There's typhoons in Canada that I don't know. Maybe snow typhoons, snow tornadoes, hurricanes.
Yes. The classic snow tornadoes.
You already know someone's like, quick, let's pen a movie and save that.
For sure. No, it's going to be, it's going to be on Netflix here shortly.
Let's make a wolf NATO. Yeah, out of a, god damn it. Someone at Sci-Fi just probably was like, yeah, that's happening.
Oh, yeah. Joe Rogan's definitely already pitched Wolf NATO before.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I don't really know what to make of this matchup. I know Nordine Taleb hits really fucking hard, but he's susceptible to getting taken down. His opponent, Kyle Prepelic, he has a rear naked choke victory, but that was back in 2014. This guy's also been submitted. Yeah, he has some submission victories, but it's in the past 7 years. This is kind of a weird matchup.
Yeah, part of the reason why it's a weird matchup is because Kyle is stepping in on late notice since CR Bahadurzada, who was supposed to be fighting Nordine Taleb, got injured. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I did notice that Nordine Taleb is with TriStar in Montreal, right? Are they in Montreal? Was it Faraz Sahabi and all those guys?
I believe so.
Something like that. Yeah. So I like that. I am leaning towards him, and I think I will pick him. No fucking clue how this fight's going to go, other than I think Taleb's going to win.
Right.
His opponent, Kyle, has not been knocked out before, so I'm going to go decision.
Oh, shit. Kyle fought Kevin Lee back in 2013.
Oh, he lost. Oh, wow. MFL. That's a trip. Okay. Huh. Is that like Montreal Fight League, do you think? Maybe not.
It is Michiana Fight League.
Michigan.
I'm guessing it's a combination of Michigan and Indiana.
That sounds about right. But yeah, I'm going Nordine Taleb. Via decision is going to be my call here.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning Taleb as well. I'm going to say knockout in the second round. I just Nordine seems far more well rounded and has fought way higher levels of competition, especially as of late. And while he did have trouble against Claudio Silva and Sean Strickland, he straight up crucified Danny Roberts not that long ago, back in December of 2017. And he's gone to decision with dudes like Santiago Ponzinibbio. I gotta lean Taleb. I think I'm gonna take knockout in the second, just because I think Kyle. I would imagine. I don't remember how short notice this fight was put together, but I gotta figure that Nordine's gonna be able to push pace on him, just on the fact that he's been training for this fight for longer. So yeah, I'm gonna say Nordine knockout, either late first, early second. I'm leaning towards second.
Okay, I like that. I like that call. For those curious about the odds, Nordine Taleb is a minus 385 favorite to a plus 310 Kyle Prepolek.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Next up, we have a bantamweight bout between American fighter Vince Morales, his nickname Vendetta, not Vendetta, record of 8 wins and 3 losses.
Oh, that reminds me. I saw a Volkswagen van that was the license plate was Van Gogh the other day. I was like, that's pretty good.
That is actually very clever, and that guy's probably had that license plate for like 30 fucking years. So
him. Bro, he's had it since he was smoking dirt weed in the 70s, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably like, yeah, man, I got this for my buddy, got this Mexican brickweed from TJ.
Hey, I've had some pretty good Mexican brickweed from TJ before.
Oh, I actually have some right now.
Oh, really? Wow. Nice.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're on a budget.
Yeah, dude. I used to get $50 ounces back like before dispensaries were barely a thing.
What do you think I did recently? So, anyways, Mr. Morales here, Vendetta, is going up against Firas Zahabi's younger brother, Ayman Zahabi. It's a bantamweight bout. Last time we saw Vince Morales, he lost a unanimous decision to everyone's favorite name in the bantamweight division, Song Yadong, or Yadong Song. No shame in that, because that dude's an absolute fucking killer. I think that's the guy that's at Team Alpha Male, the Chinese fighter. Ayman Zahabi.
Is he with Alpha Male?
I believe so.
You might be right. I know he's been beasting on dudes.
I remember seeing.
I'm pretty sure he's over in China still.
Okay, you're probably right.
I could be mixing him up though, because a lot of dudes go to Alpha Male for like.
Maybe it was Keenan Song, the other guy.
I mix a lot of the Chinese.
Or excuse me, Kanan Song. But anyways, Ayman Zahabi, his last fight, he got brutally knocked out by a spinning back elbow from Ricardo Ramos. I always fucking forget if this guy's Latino or if he's like, or you know what I mean. If he's not Brazilian, I cannot remember.
I think he is.
Wait, you cut out for a second, but I'll just wait. What's up? Sorry, god damn it. There's like some feedback.
He's Brazilian.
Brazilian, yeah. So I'll say Ricardo Ramos. Yeah, he hit him with a really nice spinning back elbow, which pretty much flatlined him, and the dude was out, unfortunately, which was sad to see. So he's coming off of that, and that was okay. Wow, so that was a year and a half ago. That was November of 2017. Zahabi, I would imagine, is a jiu-jitsu practitioner, just knowing his older brother.
I mean, he's pretty well rounded overall, though. Coming from, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, I mean, at that gym in general, you have probably one of the most. I mean, you just have such a variety of people you could train with, and brains you can kind of study and pick. So
definitely, and they're definitely go out of their way to be well rounded as a team in general. I mean, that's for us the kind of whole mentality.
Yeah,
that and how everyone should end Imanari roll all the time.
I forgot. Rory didn't have a chance to Imanari roll against John Fitch,
no, he was too busy already being on bottom.
Yeah, I think Jesus was too much in his ear telling him to quit.
That's right.
But that's a whole other issue. Or just a whole. Never mind. I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's yeah. So I've gone way the fuck off topic. Morales. These guys are both coming off losses. I'm leaning more towards the guy coming from, and no disrespect to Morales' camp, I have to go with the better camp in these close matchups. I'm leaning towards Ayman Zahabi. I think this is going to be a scrappy fight. I think it's going to a decision, as a lot of the lighter weight classes do, at least unless they have crazy knockout power, or unless you're a glass cannon like, well, if you're a glass cannon like Cody Garbrandt, you're either knocking someone the fuck out or you're getting knocked the fuck out. So it's exciting either way. But in any sense, I'm going with Zahabi decision.
Yeah, I'm going the same way. Zahabi was winning the hell out of the Ricardo Ramos fight up until he got caught with that spinning back elbow, which came out of fucking nowhere and just blasted him super clean. He was out for a bit. So I just got to lean Ayman Zahabi for looking good up until he got caught, and especially now that he's taken a good amount of time off to recover from that. I mean, he's taken, a year and a half off since then. I think that'll be real good for him. And you got to imagine he's gotten much better as well. So, yeah, I'm going Zahabi via decision.
And the odds for those curious, we have Zahabi at a minus 159 to Morales is plus 140.
That makes sense to me. Morales is definitely a live dog in that, though.
Yeah, he's not a bad little parlay you could probably put together if you could find some other decent fights to, parlay him with. Yeah, if you're willing.
Yeah, the only thing is I question how well he's going to be able to handle the grappling of Ayman Zahabi. But then again, I had Ayman Zahabi against Ricardo Ramos, who absolutely flatlined him. So what do I know?
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way she goes.
Yep.
So this next fight we have is a women's, I believe it's bantamweight, but I can't remember.
Okay. It's barely bantamweight. Macy Chasson made weight in the second weigh-in. She missed weight by a pound the first time, came back about 40 minutes later and made weight.
So the first opponent who's fighting Macy Chasson is Canada's Sarah Morris, or Morass, whatever you want to call her.
That's right. These are two classic people who everyone pronounces their name wrong.
Yeah, is it actually Sarah Morris? That's what I would.
It is Morris, but that's part of the problem. Yeah,
yeah. It doesn't know her name is Cheesecake.
Yeah,
so people just want to call her Morass.
Well,
sure.
I mean, though.
I mean, they're not wrong. But,
yeah. Macy Chasson. Also, by the way, everybody, it's Chasson. I understand everybody wants to call her Macy Chasson.
Isn't she from New Orleans?
Yeah, exactly. Which, how the fuck does? I guess it's just because I'm not Malkikawa and I understand shit about New Orleans. But it's Chasson. It's French, but it's not all French. It's like French and a bunch of other shit. So while if it was a French name, I believe it'd be Chasson. But since it's not, it's New Orleans French. It's Chasson.
So like French with some Creole or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah. They kind of good luck pronouncing just about any street name in New Orleans that isn't already a word.
That reminds me, I don't know what the French, people from France, what their opinion on French Cajuns or French Creole is compared to French Canadians, because I know they generally don't like French Canadians, if I remember. So
the French don't like a lot of people from the bit I know about them.
I mean, yeah, there hasn't international history, or conflict hasn't been kind to France, so I'd probably be salty towards a lot of other people too. Anyways, that doesn't fucking matter. What matters is Sarah Morris is on a 2-fight skid right now. Last time we saw her was October of 2018. She's coming off 2 losses in a row of a decision, so she hangs in there. She's scrappy. Her losses coming to Lucy Pudilova and Talita Bernardo.
Yep, I believe that it was the Pudilova fight where she was fucking Pudilova up until she got caught, right?
It said a decision.
Yeah, no, but I think she was housing Pudilova.
And then they probably got knocked down or some shit.
She just got clanged by a head kick, if I remember right.
Her opponent, the American Macy Chasson, I probably said her name wrong because you told me how to correctly say it.
Nope, you got it.
She is, I believe, the Ultimate Fighter winner.
Yes, Ultimate Fighter, the heavyweight season.
Yeah, she's not a heavyweight, clearly. She's a featherweight.
Yeah.
She's a natural featherweight.
Correct.
Like I said, she had she made it to 135, 136. She fucking did it. She's here. Yeah. I'll say this. I think she's absolutely going to piece the fuck up Sarah Morris based on what I saw her do to Gina Mazzani. So scrappy. I think she's going to get another finish. I think if we see another finish, if it's early again, this chick's going to be trouble for this division. And if I'm matchmaker, based on the whole landscape of women's 135, if she fucks up Morris and finishes her like saying like a minute or two, dude, just have her fight like a kickboxer like Jermaine Durand to me. I don't even give a fuck at that point, just because of how big both those fighters are physically, and I think that could be a fun fight. I think Chasson will be up for the task because Durand to me is still very talented. Granted, all the shit talking, all the weird shit she's done with where she wants to pursue her career. That's besides the point. Jermaine Durand to me, I still think is a very talented fighter. I think that'd be a fun fight. I would want to see that.
It'd be a huge step up in competition, considering she's had, I think, 3 or 4 pro fights. And GDR is
probably not a good call.
Yeah, that'd be a huge step up in competition. But I'm with you. I think she does real good against Sarah
eventually.
Morris.
Then I want to see that fight. Is what I should say.
Especially if Macy keeps going out there and housing people. Like I think she will in this one. So what's your method, or what's your final ruling on that one?
I got like a finish, like a TKO. I'm going first round.
Yeah, so I am with you. I am pretty positive that Macy's going to hit her with that Popeyes 12-piece like she did against Gina Mazzani, which I heard a bunch of Macy's friends were saying that, which is fucking hilarious. It cracks me the fuck up. That was before Jorge Masvidal and his 3-piece in a soda. Macy dropped that on, I want to say, Slip and Dip podcast, one of the Texas shows. But yeah, I'm a big Macy Chasson fan. I think she's fucking super, super sharp. And she's out of Fortis MMA, which has been looking incredible lately. I'm a big Fortis MMA fan with oh God, I always pronounce dude's name wrong. The head coach at Fortis that I'm not even going to butcher his name. Safe. It's one of those.
I couldn't tell you.
I always have a panic attack whenever I try and pronounce dude's name, but they have been looking fantastic, and I think she's going to continue with this streak. The only way I think she could get into trouble is if she gets stuck in grappling exchanges and scrambles with Sarah. Sarah is really good at either getting the back in a scramble or catching an armbar, which are 2 things I think Macy needs to keep an eye out for. However, she did catch that rear naked choke against Pani, which is a super impressive win. And she was just absolutely lighting Gina up on the feet, both of which are pretty decent grapplers. And I think Sarah's best chance in this fight is to try and get into crazy scrambles and catch something wild. But I think Macy's going to be too poised and too long for Sarah. I think Sarah's probably going to get pieced up with a lot of straight shots on the outside. The only thing that worries me a little bit is Macy is still pretty green, and she does collapse the distance a little bit too much when coming forward and striking. So if she collapses into the clinch, I think that could be trouble since Sarah has some decent trips. But I'm leaning Macy, say TKO first off of volume.
That's what I'm thinking too, and that's my pick as well. So, but I like to see competitive fights either way. I like to see anything that's exciting, whether it's an early finish, a late finish, or just a fucking war. Bring it on. Let's see it. So
I think it's going to be scrappy as hell for sure. Because Sarah's never been in a fight that she wasn't scrappy in. I mean,
I don't.
We were there.
I think I remember seeing her.
We were there
finished.
we were there when we saw her at fight Jessica Andrade way back in the day.
Fuck, that's right. That card was still so stacked in hindsight.
Yeah,
so
we
crazy.
walked in while that fight was happening, and Sarah rallied super hard in the third. Even it ended the fight on Andrade's back, looking for a rear naked choke. That was pretty close. So, I don't think she's ever out of the fight unless she's put away. and I think it could definitely lead to some scary scrambles for Macy, but just that length and that her ability to, her like sharp accuracy, and the Panny win. If it wasn't for her win over Panny, I wouldn't be nearly as confident. But Panny Kianzad is very underrated. She is a bad motherfucker in the 135 division. And I think if Panny and not that MMA math works, but I think Panny would definitely take a decision over Sarah. So hard not to lean pretty heavy on Macy's side.
Yeah, no, I agree. For those curious about the odds on this, wow. Okay, so Chasson is in minus 625 to a plus 475.
That seems very wide.
Yeah. Hence my reaction to that initially. But
yeah,
take that as you will.
Stay away from that. Dog or pass like a motherfucker in that. What's they have a line for Sarah by sub?
Let's find out.
Because that's probably crazy.
You said by sub?
Yep.
Morris by submission plus 1325.
That's not a bad, like, if you want an ultra dog parlay you can pair that with something else, and I think you could definitely that line is that's
Morris
too much.
Inside the distance is plus 930.
Yeah, more
and then by decisions plus 1100.
So. Yeah, man, either one of those. If you're feeling more confident on by decision, I would feel more confident on sub. However, Macy did have a rough weight cut, so by decision might not be a bad pick either. Especially if they get into a lot of scrambles. So,
I'll go ahead and try to speed this up a bit. We're already almost an hour in, and we still got a couple fights left. Not that we need to speed it up.
Yeah, let's keep on moving.
Okay, so next up we have a middleweight bout between Andrew Sanchez, who's 10-4. I don't really need to say the records. I'll just tell you when they last fought. Going up against Canadian fighter Marc-Andre Barriault. I'll probably say that way the fuck wrong. Sorry, dude.
Good luck with that one, dude.
Andrew Sanchez won his last fight, which was last August against Marcus Perez. He won a decision unanimously. And Marc-Andre is what I'll just call him. This is his UFC debut. Marc-Andre was last seen in the promotion called TKO. And this guy is 11-1. And he's on looks like a 8-fight win streak. Very impressive. So I can't tell, honestly, if they're trying to set Andrew Sanchez up for success or Marc-Andre. Andrew Sanchez looks like his last two losses he had were to strikes. Marc-Andre is a fighter who loves to strike the fuck out of people and knock them out. Looks like he's got some heavy hands, at least in TKO. I think this is one of those fights where you expect the UFC veteran to take it away. I know Sanchez is a grappler. Marc-Andre's only loss was a split decision. I have no idea how the fuck this dude's takedown defense is, but I'm going to go out on a limb and actually go with Marc-Andre. I think this dude's going to knock the fuck out. I think he's going to finish Andrew Sanchez. And there's always that one fight on a card you're like, holy shit, who's this guy? And it's like, oh, now you know who I am. I think that's this fight on the card. This is one of those I think you can identify in. And it helps that Marc-Andre is holding 2 fucking belts in his picture. Not that means anything. But it's a little telling. I mean, he's good at cutting weight, or at least going up in weight.
Yeah,
I got Marc-Andre. Not a whole lot of confidence in that. Just a gut call. I'm going like TKO round 3. It'll be like a war, and then I think it'll be like Sanchez going in on like a single or something. He gets called a knee or some shit, or like some short-handed hook.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah. Like 50% confidence in this one, by the way. So
yeah, I mean, well, and neither one of us did much study on this card. I was mostly watching Invicta stuff, to be honest, because I fucking love me some Invicta. So I was prepped for that tournament and realized, oh yeah, by the way, we're recording while that tournament's happening. Actually, after that tournament ended, so tape study did not matter. But yeah, so I'm leading Andrew Sanchez in this one. El Derte, mostly just off of strength competition. I mean, when you're going 3 rounds with Anthony Smith before getting caught, you're going to decision against dudes like Trevor Smith, Khalil Roundtree. He's fought guys like Eric Spicely. It's just more just much higher level of competition. Doesn't mean that Mark can't go out there and catch something crazy, but anytime I see a dude who's getting a lot of wins early, coming out of a smaller promotion against a guy who's fought some higher level competition and gone to decision with some tough motherfuckers, I gotta take Sanchez by decision.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that either. Like I said, mine was kind of like a 50-50 call. Stick with Marc-Andre by TKO round 3. Fuck it. The odds on this for those curious, Andrew Sanchez is a minus 156 to a plus 139 of Marc-Andre. This next fight, moving on, is a heavyweight bout between Walt the Big Ticket Harris, not Justin Willis, because I always got these guys confused, going up against Ukrainian fighter and his UFC debut, undefeated fighter Sergey Spivak, the polar bear. Last time we saw Walt Harris, he's on a 2-fight win streak right now. His last win coming against a close split decision to Andrei Arlovsky last December. Before that, he knocked out Daniel Spitz at the very, very end of the second round. Before that, he's the guy that you probably remember for having that crazy illegal kick to Mark Godbeer, which almost
it was like
took his
kind of illegal. It was like barely illegal.
So
that was the one where it was I want to say it was an eye poke or a nut shot or something, and the ref went to step in, and Walt Harris landed the kick like he was throwing a 3-piece combo that ended with a kick, and the ref stepped in at like the halfway through it.
Yeah, I think it was like the ref like going in, and he's like whoa, and he had his fucking leg going up.
Yeah. So could be on a 3-fight win streak, and then he got taken down and subbed by Fabricio real quick back in.
No shame
October.
in that, considering it was such a last nose thing.
Yeah.
This fight going in, it's the veteran versus the new guy. I'm going with the veteran, Walt Harris. It's a heavyweight fight, so anyone can get finished. I feel like I have a feeling this could be an ugly, fucking weird fight that goes to decision. Go ahead and quote me on that. I don't know why. It's just a lot of, no justification behind that. Just how I'm feeling. So
I can see that. I'm going to take Walt Harris via TKO late in the second, mostly because Sergey hasn't been out of the first round, really, for at least from what I'm seeing on his record, which that means that you're going to come out like a house on fire, and then in my opinion, you're going to gas not far after that. Also, is that the Tony? Yep, that is the Tony Lopez I was thinking of, who's 61-30, and who fought in bare knuckle not that long ago. So, again, I am. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He had that fight against Joey Beltran. So yeah, if your last win was Tony Lopez in the year 2018, I'm taking Walt Harris via TKO second.
That's not a bad pick at all. And for those curious about the odds, we have Walt Harris at a minus 175 to plus 155 for Sergey Spivak. So now moving along again, this fight's really fucking cool. We have a bantamweight clash between Canadian fighter Brad Superman Katona, who won the Ultimate Fighter like a year ago, I believe.
Something like that.
I think this guy fights out of SBG Ireland. He's like one of the only few not fucking nutcases there.
Yeah. SBG Ireland is like, who knows what that gym even looks like anymore.
Yeah, I bet John Kavanaugh is like, hey, where's Connor? He's probably like, I have no fucking clue.
That's the rumor.
He's going up against Georgian fighter, not the state, the country, Mirab Devalshvili. I probably said it wrong every time, but I tried. Devalshvili, something like that.
Devalshvili.
Brad Katona is undefeated still. Last time we saw him, he won a unanimous decision over Matthew Lopez last December. Mirab Devalshvili, I remember, if I recall correctly, trains in Toms River, New Jersey with Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida's camp with Frankie Edgar and all those guys. So an amazing camp to be a part of.
Yep.
This is
a really
good fight. And his
Merab trains with Sarah.
See, I always get these motherfuckers mixed up. It's because
It's
those guys have such a good
also,
rapport. Yeah, they all train together.
also are pretty close.
Excuse me.
No, he's Sarah BJJ.
I stand corrected. Thank you.
Yeah, him and Al are both on this card, and I heard Aljo is basically working with both of them a lot in the lead up.
So yeah, last time we saw Dvalishvili, he defeated Terrion Ware via unanimous decision. Before that, he was guillotine choked by Ricky Simone. That fight where you saw his legs were kind of moving. Was it a good call? That kind of thing.
Yeah, that fucking weird fight.
I'm kind of leaning towards Katona with the submission stuff because I know that's his game, and I think I'm going towards that. Even though I could very well see Dvalishvili winning this as well, but I think I'm sticking with Katona. I think he's kind of more well-rounded right now. He's just the more raw, talented fighter. I think Dvalishvili has the better camp, and he could be just as good or better potentially, or maybe now, maybe he'll win the fight. But I'm going to go with Katona. I think he's going to get a sub in like the second round. I really like the pace that Katona puts. I know it's probably a little ballsy me picking that.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a big win for Katona if that was the case. I'm winning Merab via decision mostly because I think Brad, the majority of his game revolves around him being able to get takedowns and work top game. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that comfortably against Merab. And I think if Merab starts stuffing takedowns and Merab's real good at dragging people into wild grappling exchanges and just pushing a crazy pace. And I think if he's able to stuff the takedowns of Katona and keep pushing a pace on him, I think he can probably break Katona over time. So I'm leaning Merab via decision, but I think this could go either way. It really depends on who's able to win the grappling exchanges.
Yeah, I think you very well may be right in that regard. So here's to a good competitive fight. For those curious on the odds here, Dvalishvili is the favorite at -169 to a +150 of Brad Katona.
That's a bit wider than I thought it would be, but it makes sense.
So moving on, we have a featherweight bout between veteranish, kind of a veteran at this point now, Shane Burgos, going up against definite veteran and WC veteran, if you were watching back in the day, Cub Swanson.
That's right.
Last time we saw Shane Burgos fight, he submitted via armbar Kurt Hollabaugh last November at the UFC 230. For that, he lost in an absolute war against Calvin Kattar. No shame in that. That was a fun fight. Cub Swanson is on a 3-fight skid, but look who the fuck he's fought. His last recent fight was last August. He got submitted by Renato Moicano at the end of the first round. For that, he lost a decision unanimously to Frankie Edgar. And before that, he got standing guillotine choked out by Brian Ortega. Yeah, he's just been in murderer's row. Part of me's leaning Cub Swanson in this. I was going to say something really fucked up, but I don't think I'm going to. Yeah, let's just say I think Cub Swanson's cardio is going to be great, even though it's a 3-round fight. So
he left Calvita's camp.
That's my joke, because I saw a tweet the other day where it was like, fuck all of you. I know TJ fucked up, but don't affiliate me with that shit, basically.
But he also left that camp.
So yeah, which good on you. Like, no, really, that's a really good move.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
You don't need those kinds of press releases.
Nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want when someone searches EPO to see my name next to that count. Nope. So he's smart.
I also just don't want the dude who's writing novels on fucking Instagram or whatever to be at all associated with me.
Yeah, that piece of shit. Oh God.
Jesus.
Yeah, so, it's like TJ did not see these things coming, hitherto consequences undreamt of.
Yeah, therefore, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure whom is responsible. Definitely not thou.
not him or her.
Yeah, that
Or other
motherfucker.
parties involved. Like, dude,
That's
we
right.
get it, bro. Like, I have a thesaurus too. Anyways, I kind of like Cub Swanson in this. I know he changed camps. Sure, he's on a 3-fight skid, but dude, he's fighting killers. Shane Burgos is no slouch, though. The guy's a very, very talented fighter.
Tough as hell.
Yeah, especially since he had like scoliosis or some spinal surgery or some shit, which is crazy. The fact that dude's even fighting, especially when it deals with your back, let alone your fucking vertebrae.
Definitely.
I'm gonna go Cub Swanson in this. I think both these guys are warriors. I think it goes to a decision. I know Burgos is not afraid at all to stand and bang in the pocket, so this has potential to be a fight of the night. These guys just trading leather like crazy. Not saying it's going to be a Swanson versus Doo Ho Choi. Could it be? Maybe. I would love it. I would love to see that. Without maybe the brain damage, but sometimes it's just what this fight game does to you. Which is also why fighters need to be paid more. And
also why you shouldn't be managed by the promotion. Shouts out to one.
Yeah. Conflict of interest is fun. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyways, I got Cub Swanson via decision. I think it's gonna be a war. Yeah.
So I think I'm actually going to take Burgos via decision in this one, mostly because I don't know where Cub is at.
That's true.
Both where he's at in his career and where he's at head-wise. Dude's taken a lot of big shots in the last couple of fights. While he's been competitive, he's still getting into fucking slobber knockers in most of these. And I think a slobber knocker for Shane Burgos is going to be something that he's going to embrace wholeheartedly. And in that kind of fight, I don't see Cub Swanson breaking Shane Burgos. And if he doesn't, I think that's going to make for a long night for both of them. I'm going to take Shane Burgos to edge out a decision. But this really could go either way for me. I'm not ultra confident.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't put it past Burgos to get a scrappy decision or a win in general. I think they're both pretty well matched up against each other. The odds on this, I'm bad at reading odds, but so you can say this. Burgos is a minus 147 to a plus 130 of Swanson. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I guess I see why, because Cubs coming off a couple losses. But I don't know. This is a pretty pick'em fight for me, honestly.
Yeah. This next fight is interesting. It's a middleweight bout between American fighter Derek Brunson and Canadian Elias the Spartan Theodoro, or the Great Main, or the main event. I can't remember what his name is.
Main event
with his hair.
M-A-N-E.
I imagine he still has his hair.
Oh hell yeah!
Considering his photo on Tapology always is confusing every time.
Yep.
So like, wait, doesn't this dude have hair? Derek Brunson, last time we saw him, we probably all saw this because it was a pretty hyped up fight. He got knocked out. He got finished by Israel Adesanya at their last remaining 10 seconds of the first round. This is where we saw Israel Adesanya has better takedown defense than we thought initially. Derek Brunson is an explosive wrestler. He's not afraid to level chains immediately. He'll just run straight at you, kind of like he did in the Anderson Silva fight. I think this is a very good style matchup for him in his favor. Elias Theodoro is more patient. He likes to move backwards a lot, which doesn't fare well against someone who likes to get a single leg on you if you're moving back on your feet a lot, especially if Derek Brunson gets a hold of you. I'll cut to the chase, cut to the point. I think Brunson's going to be taking Elias down a lot. I don't think there's going to be too many strike exchanges unless they get in the clinch and someone has someone's back against the fence. Brunson has decent power. Theodoro, I think, has underrated power. He's not really a knockout guy, but he has like stinging punches, annoying punches. He has great cardio.
Yeah.
But I like Brunson in this, just to keep it blunt. I think it's going to go decision. I think he's going to just grind out Theodore and keep him on the ground a lot and just kind of go for a lot of takedowns and just kind of control that fight. The only way I see Theodoro winning this if his movement can keep him out of trouble and he's able to land a scramble or turn any sort of transition or level change into a scramble based on like where his hips, where he's moving, like circling this way. It's all on the angle. But I still like Brunson either way, and I'm taking a decision.
Interesting. So I'm going to lean Elias, and mostly, well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think if Brunson tries to work a wrestling game plan, I'm not confident he's not going to gas himself out. And against a guy like Elias, you can, if he tries real hard to push a wrestling game plan in the first round and doesn't work out for him, that's going to make the next 2 rounds really fucking dicey, especially against a guy like Elias, who's just going to circle and pot shot. Second, I think Elias is. I think Elias should be able to stuff the takedowns, or at least turn them into clinch exchanges, which he's very good at. And I think if he's able to put Brunson against the cage in the clinch and just kind of make him work, I think that could easily be a place where Elias can just gather cage control time and start adding up points. And lastly, I think this fight goes to decision probably either way. And if this fight does go to decision, I'm not picking Elias to lose a decision, especially against a guy like Brunson, who's pretty all right at dropping decisions. I think it's going to be a staring match for a lot of it, and in those kinds of fights, that is where Elias thrives. So I'm leaning that way, but again, not ultra confident. If Brunson does just decide to sprint in, hands down, and throw giant bombs at Elias, I think that actually might be a better game plan than trying to play it safe. I don't think Elias is going to put him out, although he could gas himself that way as well. I think Elias is a tough out for a lot of guys, and I think this is another good example of if Brunson doesn't put him out in the first round, I think it's hard to see him winning a decision.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. Should be interesting. Hope it's a competitive fight.
Yeah, I think it will be.
The odds for those curious, Theodoro is a slight favorite at -118 to a +105 to Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It's pick 'em as fuck.
Yeah. This next fight we have, it's the main event of the evening. Speaking of main event, this is a great fucking fight. Both fighters American, for those are curious.
They're both hell American.
Very American. We got an East Coaster and raging Al Iaquinta, who basically, it's funny, like as far as like scrappy Italian fighters, you look at this guy as far as like just like not even the scar tissue has, but he actually kind of resembles Jake LaMotta, which is fucking crazy. I remember someone
have a little bit of that.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yes, and way less women beating. At least I hope not. I hope he's not a woman beater.
No, I wouldn't think it. Al seems.
I wouldn't think so. No, he seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah, he seems like a good dude.
Al Iaquinta, yep, he's going up against, of course, one of everyone's favorite fighters in general, Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Another Italian fighter, but not in the general scrappy sense of like Iaquinta. Well, they're both fucking scrappy. You get the idea. This is a scrappy and fun main event. This is probably one of the better main events I've seen, not in a while, at least for ESPN Plus card. I wish I could watch this. I'll catch the replay. Last time we saw Al Iaquinta, he fought Kevin Lee in their long-awaited rematch, one that we wouldn't know we would see until we wanted it. I scored that fight for Iaquinta. He pieced the fuck out of Lee. He used his better boxing, his inside boxing. That jab is just so quick. He just commits to it. Iaquinta has great cardio. He has good jiu-jitsu. He has good wrestling. He's very well-rounded. Donald Cerrone is very well-rounded. I think Iaquinta edges him with the boxing, at least in the pocket and the stand-up, just from the outside. He's a quicker jab. Cerrone edges him with the kickboxing, with just the head kicks, stinging leg kicks. So this fight's going to kind of matter of who can get inside and then who can kind of keep distance and range. I'm kind of leaning towards Al because I think he can keep the pressure more inside against Cerrone. I don't know if this fight's going to go to the ground. I feel like a lot of these guys are just going to fucking stand. I could just see it standing the whole time, to be honest. If it goes to the ground, I don't really know who to give the advantage to. I feel like Al would be more comfortable in top mount and I guess Cerrone off of his back. Because I know I've seen Cerrone's comfortable with the triangle.
Hell yeah. He's slick
off
as
of his
shit with
back.
triangle.
And Cerrone, by the way, last we saw him, he finished Alexander Hernandez with a head kick and punches in the middle end of the second round. That was a fight where Alexander Hernandez was cocky as all hell, which is fine. You got to have confidence as a fighter, but he definitely ate some crow and some humble pie after that showing.
Yeah.
Old man Cerrone, or as he called him, someone who looks like he spent 2 terms in the Oval Office, put an executive beating on him, if I want to just go with the fucking shitty pun.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see it.
Yeah. Had to do it. But yeah, and before that, he submitted Mike Perry. Who, by the way, Mike Perry's improving. Good for him. I like seeing Mike Perry fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Iaquinta in this fight. The way I see Cerrone winning this, I think he catches Al with like some crazy head kick. But my gut tells me this goes to decision. Well, no, you know what? Fuck. I want to say decision, but now that I think about it, I think it's be a late finish from Al. I think he's going to keep stinging Cerrone with that jab, and he's going to catch him with a really gnarly, just fucking hook to the liver. He's just going to go for that liver shot. Both these guys have good camps. I know Al is with Sarah Longo. Is Cerrone? No,
Cerrone's
he's
with
definitely not.
Yeah,
he's
no,
definitely
he's
not
not.
with Jackson Wink. I know that. I know that.
Yeah,
Is he like an elevation in Colorado or something? Like that, or?
He has his own camp, I think.
It's
with
just his own camp now?
the BMF
With
ranch, yeah.
Like Joe Schilling and those guys? This other guy he's with, right?
I don't know if Schilling is doing camps with them currently. I know they've worked together in the past.
I know Yair Rodriguez trains with Cowboy pretty extensively now. At least he goes out of his way too. They had a really good relationship they forged.
Yeah, he seems to kind of have a rotating cast of characters coming in and out of the BMF ranch that he works with, from what I understand.
But yeah, I have Al in this. I'm gonna go late TKO, like end of the 4th.
So I'm reading this pretty similarly. The only difference is I think Al is a terrible style matchup for Cowboy. I think if this was before Cowboy had his kid, I think Al houses him. Just because Al's a pressure boxer who is good at judging distance, good at catching kicks, and his wrestling is enough to keep Donald Cerrone off him. And I think just Al also works the body very well, which is going to give Cerrone problems. Cerrone has looked much better since having a kid. Just been hella motivated and has looked very sharp. But I got to take Al in this. Number one, Cerrone looked kind of rough the weigh-ins, which can't help in a 5-round main event. And number two,
No, it doesn't.
I just think Al's pressure and pace and body work is a death sentence for Cerrone in this fight. I think unless Cerrone's able to keep him on the outside and blast him with kicks and start putting together long combos together from the outside, I think this is going to be a tough night for him. So I'm going to take Al via TKO early second. I think mostly,
Okay.
yeah, I think he's mostly just going to rip him with hooks to the head and body and catch kicks and blast him off the counter. I've been very high on Al lately. I picked him over Kevin Lee. I might have picked him over Habib, actually, if I remember right.
I think you did, yeah.
I'm very high on Al Iaquinta. I think he's a terrible style matchup for a lot of people in that division because his boxing is just looking better and better, and his wrestling has always been there. So yeah, I'm taking Al mostly off of body work. I think he probably puts Cowboy down either with I think he's just going to rip the head and body back and forth and put Cowboy out. I think Cowboy is going to start on the back foot and not ever going to be able to actually catch up and keep Al off of him enough to get anything going. So yeah, I'm taking Al probably TKO early second. It could be late first, but I'm going early second.
I like that call. I'm not mad at that. So for those curious about the odds, wow. Okay. Pretty much what if I was an odds maker, but then again, I barely understand odds because I'm a fucking idiot. I never put time into that. Cowboy is a -10, or excuse me, Al is a -111 to a -101 of Cowboy.
Yeah, it's razor fucking.
And on some other ones, they're both -115.
Yeah.
But the one I see most common is a -111 to -101. And so I have to ask you this, since this division is the most stacked, this and welterweight, I would say. Does the winner of this wait for a title shot after Poirier Habib? which is what I would probably want to do, or do you say fuck it, let's bring on Justin Gaethje? Because Justin Gaethje, these three fighters, they're not good style matchups for. It's like that. That triumvirate, trifecta, whatever you want to call it. Like they all offset each other. They're all not good style matchups for each other. Justin Gaethje kind of doesn't match up. He matches it well against almost anyone, really, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think there's two ways this goes. Either they fight Gaethje, or because they're a certain alleged anal rapist gets cleared and is able to return to the sport, or they just get a title shot. I think that's the only way it goes. Because I think if Cowboy wins, he might get Conor. I don't think they want to put Al against Conor. I think they know that's a fucking bad idea.
What do you think of? Well, if I'm Tony Ferguson, I wait. And he deserves it. If I'm Tony, you just wait for the Poirier-Khabib fight.
Yes and no. Tony's been out for a bit, and who knows how much longer he's going to be out. From what I'm hearing, rumors and whatnot, he's still not all the way back into being ready to take a training camp yet. And I honestly, like I said, I'd like him to take at least the rest of the summer off, if not the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just would make me feel more comfortable about watching it, because I would feel uncomfortable if Tony Ferguson took a fight this summer. But yeah, I would. I think it really depends on how a lot of stuff plays out. But yeah, this is going to catapult one of the dudes to the title shot competition, or to the title shot conversation pretty shortly, I believe. So I think this is just a fucking great scrap too. Like, this is a fun as hell scrap. Weird that it's in Canada. It's weird that they put that in Canada, but fun as hell.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The Canadians are great fans. They love a good show. So
for sure.
I know the main event should deliver.
And Cerrone's never lost in Canada. He
fucking loves Canada.
He has a lot of big fans up there.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. I'll have to rewatch this probably Sunday when I get a chance, or whenever I have a chance to watch. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try my best not to get spoiled. If I do, whatever, I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be fun as hell, man. I can't wait. I'm pretty damn excited about it. Cool. Well, let's see. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
That's it for me, at least for now. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's all I got.
As always, you guys can catch all the information about the episode, all the podcasts we reference, if you go to thesoundofviolence.com, or if you look in the description on the podcast feed, it'll have links to everything. You guys can always hit us up on Twitter, TSOV Pod. I promise we're friendly. We're not going to fucking... I'm not even gonna reference some of the shit that's been happening on Twitter. We're very nice on there, and we love hearing recommendations and that kind of stuff. I've talked to a lot of the guys who do podcasts. If you have a podcast and you want us to check it out, shoot us a DM or hit us up on Twitter, and we'll definitely give your show a listen. That's how I originally heard about iFox with Juice, was from following him and having conversations with him on Twitter. So let us know, and we will be back next week. We have what card is next week?
I have no clue.
There is Bellator 221, which is Chandler versus Pitbull, which is a pretty goddamn good card.
Okay.
Who else is on that? Ooh, that's Lima versus Page also. Holy shit.
Ooh, I like that.
And AJ McKee versus Pat Curran. Taiwan Claxton's back. Oh, man. Jake Hager is fighting. That should be a pretty fun card.
And, so next week is Nami Yunus and
UFC
Andrade, the
237.
And you got Aldo and Volkanovski. Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's a great card. And next week.
And Cannonier and Silva.
Yeah, and on Thursday next week is the first round, or is the first event of the new PFL tournament. Okay. Which is Kayla Harrison's first fight in the tournament. So big week of fights coming up. So it should be a lot of fun. Keep an eye out for that, and we will be back then. So like we said, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know if you have any recommendations of podcasts we're sleeping on. As always, if you guys leave us a review on iTunes, It's a big help. And like and subscribe on YouTube and all that fucking dumb shit. And until next time, everybody, go do something decadent. We out. Bye.